In celebration of the Eclipse and Sorrows event releasing in the English server, we're going to be doing Scar H. Now originally I was going to do Scar L first, but what happened was that you can't do Scar L's build in Modern Warfare 2, so I might as well go for Scar H. The interesting about that is we have the Scar L in the Assault Rifle section, the Scar H in the Battle Rifle section, and the DMR Scar Chambered in Creedmoor in the Marksman Rifle section. Now even though in-game she is listed as Scar H, what she actually is using is the Marksman Rifle Scar Chambered in Creedmoor in Modern Warfare 2. Now what you need to know about the Marksman Rifle Scar, I believe it is called the TAC-M in-game, is that out of all the semi-auto Marksman Rifles, I believe it is the slowest shooting one. Every single one of the semi-automatic marksman rifles is 2-shot kill to the body and 1 shot to the head for the majority of its ranges. Now, since Attack M shoots slowest, I'm pretty sure that this one has the longest range. Don't quote me on that because I'm not looking up statistics for that. I will tell you, however, that when I was leveling up all my guns to max level, I absolutely hated the Attack M, so you might too. As you're about to see in the gameplay, however, raw skill can overcome the inadequacy of a weapon, and so we're about to tell you the attachments that allowed me to perform at that level. Number 1. A compensator in the muzzle slot. Psych, it's actually a flash hider, because that's the one that visually resembles her muzzle attachment. Now you may be wondering, what is the advantage of a flash hider compared to a compensator in this game? Well, they did buff flash hiders a few patches ago. According to true game data, one of the flash hiders even reduces recoil by 13% both vertically and horizontally, which is pretty significant when it has less of a downside than the compensators. However, this is absolutely the funniest part. The flash hider I'm using, the Cronin Dark KX30, according to true game data, there is not a single benefit to using this attachment outside of the muzzle flash concealment. No other positives. The only thing you get is less muzzle flash so you can see your enemy better when you're shooting at them, and style points because it is a pretty good looking muzzle attachment. Talking seriously, don't choose this attachment if you're going for functionality because there's literally flash hiders with the same downsides but with significant upsides. Like, there's no reason to use this, assuming true game data is correct, which they should be. Next attachment would be the barrel. There's only 2 barrel attachments for the TAC-M. There's short barrel and long barrel, and since the selection is so limited, I don't think I need to read the name out to you guys. Now what the long barrel does may come as a surprise to many of you, but it increases your range and bullet velocity while decreasing your aim down sight speed time. Earlier I was mentioning that this gun has a pretty good 2-shot body shot range and a 1-shot headshot range, and the amount of range that this barrel gives you is 24% more. So if you're looking at the sky and you see a witch from Mercury, you can probably shoot her down using this. I feel like I've said this point multiple times, but the majority of multiplayer maps in 6v6 and 10v10 in Modern Warfare 2 do not necessitate a longer barrel for the snipers or the marksman rifles. These are more or less only for DMZ and Warzone. And also Ground War. Ground War is a multiplayer mode, so technically you could use this longer barrel in multiplayer without it being a waste, but I think you understand what I mean. Speaking plainly, the barrel attachment slot on the TAC-M is just sorta unnecessary in my opinion. I'd rather use a laser to speed up ADS time and sprint out time. There's also the grips, the stocks, and giving up range when your whole gun is built around 2-shotting people to the body and 1-shotting them to the head for a consistent time to kill. It just feels like extending the range is unnecessary in multiplayer and shortening the range is not what you want to do to make your gun better. More or less what I'm trying to say is don't use the long barrel unless you're playing Ground War, Warzone, or DMZ. I will say that I have brought a modified version of this Scar loadout to DMZ and it was very effective at killing AI, and I was able to counter snipe a sniper once because of the lack of 1-shot headshots. Next up we have the optic attachment, which would be a variable zoom scope. I don't remember the magnification off the top of my head, but one's relatively far and then one's pretty far. Considering the long barrel and the ranges you're supposed to be engaging at with this weapon, I'd say the scope actually fits the gun perfectly and fits this build even better. There really isn't too much to say outside of this scope will become a hindrance in close quarters, which is the issue with the majority of magnified optics. One downside to these magnified optics is that the higher the zoom level is, the more flinch you're going to experience when you get shot at, which is why you should probably tune them for flinch resistance or equip a flinch resistance perk and or attachment. I'm okay with recommending this optic for pretty much every single one of the marksman rifles, and it's going to be the first optic in this video that I actually recommend in general. Though there are actually optics that are also variable but have lower zoom values, which is more in line with the type of engagement ranges you'll be fighting at in multiplayer. Another reminder that the attachments used in this series are based on the attachments portrayed in the character art rather than their effectiveness at actually being useful. This leads us to our last attachment, which is the armor-piercing ammo. Now, just because every single rifle in Ghost Frontline can equip armor-piercing ammo doesn't mean it's what they should be using, but in this case, Scar H literally has a special equip in the store that is a slap round. Here, I'm going to read the description for it right now directly from the game. A brand new APDS cartridge that IOP developed solely for Scar H based on the M949 military cartridge. It has drastically improved accuracy and lethality compared to the standard M948 rounds. Now there is something funny here, and I believe it is a typo. They mention the M949 rounds. Those don't exist, and in the description and the name of the equipment, they call them M948, which is a real round. M948 rounds are specifically listed as being saboted light armor penetrators. What word do you get when you combine the first letters of all those words? Slap. Particularly the last two, AP, armor penetrator, and I'm just going to use that to justify my equipment of armor piercing rounds in this game. Now, to be honest, that was a completely unnecessary sidestep, but I just wanted to tell you that she does actually have special equipped armor piercing rounds in game. Now, as for what they do, you know it, I know it, do more damage to vehicles, kill streaks and all that stuff, and they also go through cover more. Very simple, no downsides, and you can tune them to do stuff. I'll be honest, I wouldn't be running these rounds. Number one, the fire rate is low like I've mentioned multiple times, so if somebody goes in through a wall, you're not going to be able to spam the wall in order to try to get a hit, a wall bang. When regarding the extra damage to vehicles and kill streaks, you only have a 10 round magazine, so I'd rather use armor piercing on an LMG which has like 60 rounds or more, and it's way more effective. Seriously, I tried shooting down a VTOL with the Scar H in one of the recorded gameplays. I don't know if you're going to see it, but it really doesn't do much of anything. I don't think any of the ammunition types for this marksman rifle are good. I probably wouldn't even bother using that equipment slot unless I was specifically going for counter sniping. In that case, I'd probably use overpressured rounds because the flinch is multiplicative, and when you stack it on top of a sniper's already high flinch, I'm pretty sure they're just going to break their neck. So let's break down the attachments on this weapon. We have the muzzle device, a flash hider. It doesn't do much outside of hiding the flash. We have armor piercing rounds, which aren't very useful when you have a low magazine capacity and low fire rate. We have a good variable zoom optic, and we have a situational long barrel. I already don't like the TAC-M in multiplayer, and then on top of that, this build isn't very good. So, would I use this? No, not really, I wouldn't. I mean, in the marksman rifle category, you have the two bolt action guns that everyone gets pissy about. You have the lever action, which to be honest actually isn't that good. You have the M14 EBR with a faster fire rate. You have the LMS, also known as the PSG-1, which has a faster fire rate, and they all share 10 round magazines. So to be honest, I'm not really seeing much of a reason to be using the TAC-M. Regarding those guns, it all comes down to how far can you 2-shot body shot and 1-shot headshot, and that requires statistics. And those statistics are only as good as your positioning and the geography of the area you're fighting in. This isn't a bad gun, and this build isn't inherently terrible, except for the muzzle attachment, which if True Game Data is correct, yeah, it's completely useless. At least when you compare it to its peers. Is it as terrible as some of the horrific meme builds I've seen posted online? Absolutely not. Can you perform up with it? Yes, I mean just look at the gameplay. I'm good at the game, so I beat people's ass using this setup. It's all about knowing the strengths of your weapon and the strengths of your own playstyle. If you want to use this,
the ability to laugh at leafs, calm, fitter, healthier and more productive, a pig, in a cage, on antibiotics.
build, or in general the TAC M, you need to practice with it. It's like going from assault rifles and SMGs to LMGs, marksman rifles, or sniper rifles. It's a very different playstyle, and you need to adapt and learn how to play that well if you want to have fun using these types of weapons. And that's pretty much it. I don't really have much else to say. I don't even know who the next video is going to be about. Might be Sabma 2 because they added the stock in Season 2 Reloaded. It might be Super Sass. It might be M110, who was just added as well. You know, just I have a lot of options. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good day or have a good night. I don't really know the time of day you're watching this video in.